Malta's first Spitfire Ace pilot, one of South Rhodesia's top pilots, and the winner of the Distinguished Service Cross. All these titles belong to one man, Ioannis Augustos John Plagis. I'm Dylan, or Metallic Rain, and on this episode of War Stories, we're going to hear about the legend of John Plagis and his Spitfires. Born on March 10th in Gadzima, South Rhodesia, John Plagis was one of 5 siblings born to Greek immigrants. He was interested in aviation from a young age, and so at the outbreak of war volunteered for the South Rhodesian Air Force in September 1939. But was rejected due to being the son of immigrants. This changed, however, when Greece was invaded by Italy in 1940, leading to the Greeks joining the Allies. John reapplied, this time for the Royal Air Force, and was accepted. His training began in South Rhodesia, but ended in England. John would pass training with the rank of Flight Sergeant in June 1941, and was considered above average in his assessments. Despite not being a citizen of South Rhodesia, John considered himself Rhodesian, and so would adorn his uniform as though he was. He would name his aircraft after his sister, Kay, painting her name near the cockpit of each aircraft. Flying Spitfires, he would first be assigned to No. 65 Squadron, RAF, but would later join No. 266 Squadron, a near all-Rhodesian Spitfire unit, and would be stationed in the Mediterranean in January 1942, with the rank of Flying Officer. In Malta, he would first fly his Spitfire Mark Vs in Operation Spotter, the first British attempt to reinforce Malta against the German and Italians. In this operation, 16 Spitfires would be flown to join No. 249 Squadron, 2 of which were flown by South Rhodesians, John Plagis and his friend, Doug Lego. These 2 Rhodesians would join a fellow countryman, George Buck Buchanan, who was already a member of No. 249. After further reinforcements arrived, the Luftwaffe would launch an attack on the Allied-held Maltese airfields on March 20th. A tired Lego would join the fight, disregarding John's pleas for him to not go up, as he was in no condition to fly, but Lego insisted. He flew poorly due to his fatigue state, and would be jumped by German 109s, forcing him to bail out of his aircraft. When parachuting down, another German fighter would collapse his parachute, leading him to fall to his death. Upon hearing about the dishonorable way his friend died, Plagis was furious, writing in his journal, "I'll shoot down 10 for Doug. I will, if it takes me a lifetime." Fueled by the rage of his friend's death, Plagis would score his first air victory 5 days later, on March 25th, and another 4 in a single afternoon on April 1st, making him the first Spitfire ace over Malta. His feats in battle and aggressive reputation would earn him the Distinguished Flying Cross, awarded on the 1st of May, 1942. This citation reading, "With complete indifference to odds against him, he presses home his attacks with skill and courage and has set an outstanding example." This aggressive flying style would be further demonstrated when on May 11th he would attempt to ram an Italian RE-2001 by flying straight into it. In order to evade this furious Rhodesian, the Italian aircraft stalled and almost crashed into the sea. Plagis did not see its recovery and would go on to say that he had scored an aerial victory without firing a shot. He would barely make it home that day after taking damage to his airframe and would touch down with hardly any fuel in his tank. On May 16th, John would share a kill on a 109 with English ace Peter Nash, and would be the 100th victory of Squadron No. 249 over Malta. John would receive a field promotion to flight lieutenant, and would be transferred to No. 185 Squadron to command its B flight. In this squadron, he would destroy 2 RE-2001s and another 109. When his tour was over on July 7th, 1942, he would fly to the UK. Upon arrival in England, it was found that due to the ongoing siege of Malta limiting food and resources, he was malnourished, was suffering from scabies, and was mentally and emotionally fatigued. After a brief recovery, he would serve in England for a year as a flight instructor. He would return to the front, this time flying the Spitfire Mark V-C, and would shoot down a 109 in France in September, and then a Focke-Wulf 190 in November, and would be made a field lieutenant in December 1943. In June 1944, Plagis would take command of No. 126, which flew Spitfire Mark 9s. He would choose the aircraft with the letter K on its tail for his sister. His next major operation would be flying in Market Garden, the Allied invasion of Holland. John's Spitfire would be heavily damaged, forcing him to make a high-speed crash landing, but he would luckily survive with minor injuries, and so would return to action. His final 2 victories would come when he would lead a small group of Allied fighters against a more numerous German group. The Allied group would shoot down 5 German fighters, 2 of which were shot down by John. After these victories, he would begin flying Mustang Mark IIIs, the British name for the American P-51B and C models, and would undertake bomber escort missions, but would achieve no further air victories in the American aircraft. He would end the war with a total of 16 air victories, the second highest of any South Rhodesian pilot, and the highest-scoring ace of Greek descent. In the post-war, John would fly Meteor Mark IIIs, but would retire from military service at the rank of wing commander. He would return home and marry in 1954, having 3 children. He would open a liquor store bearing his name in Rhodesia's capital of Salisbury, would try his hand at other businesses, and even make a run for public office. Sadly, John Plagis' life would end in 1974, at age 55, reportedly by suicide, with South Rhodesian author Lauren St. John reporting it was due to him never readjusting to civilian life. And that's the story of John Plagis. Make sure to like the video if you did, leave a comment letting me know what you thought, as well as what you might like to see in future episodes. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of future uploads. Until then, I've been Dylan, Metallic Rain, and thank you for joining me on this episode of War Stories.